Thank you very much. And good morning, everybody. First of all, I'd like to thank our distinguished panel for joining us here today. I really appreciate it. You're all extremely busy. So we really appreciate your time. And a big thank you to GBB and the organizers here for another fantastic event. Thank you very much. I know there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes that we don't see, and we very much appreciate all of you. So thank you. Thanks to all of you. Today we have a very interesting topic. It's the innovation defining the real estate projects of tomorrow. And usually this would start talking about AI and technology and robots and flying cars. But I think, Architect Mohammed, I'd like to start a little bit going back and talking about designing spaces that reflect the future, but also that reflect the Saudi identity. And I think you have a unique perspective on that. So if you could address that in how that relates to our topic, we would very much appreciate it.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. I think it's a busy month for every city in Saudi Arabia. Riyadh is keep hosting a lot of big events, and now such a conference in Jeddah. So we are in the middle of a great history and a promising future in the country. As you mentioned, that AI is taking all the human being to a future perspective of life, but yet, however, we are keep moving forward to the future, and we expect during the 80s and 90s that we'll have a spaceship design and such a futuristic design, which is not. People start to feel that they want to stick to their roots and redefining the future of their future. So the place is impacting the people. If we didn't design a proper place where it is inspired by the roots, we will not have a great future. So what's happening in Saudi Arabia, which is, I think, that we try to capture, is how we redefine the future, what kind of identity that we want to create to the country. And this is definitely reflected on the place. So we are writing the future Saudi story in terms of the place and the people. And the place is impacting the people. If we didn't design a proper place, a proper experience, this is will reflect in the future generation. This is where what we are believe in Oud real estate, that's how we can inspire from our great heritage and creating a great destination where that it's engaged with the future Saudi or residents in Saudi. So heritage is very attached with the root of the people, and we have to be attached with our identity and the architectural elements. And it's too obvious that the guidelines that were launched recently for more than 13 architect guideline, which is reflect, for example, in Jeddah, Hijazis and Salmani and Riyadh. And this shows that how the regulator, the government, is taking care of the heritage. Yet we try to align as a developer and operator that's creating a different way. And coming back from architectural perspective, I think this is encouraging me personally more and more that to have more inputs on the architect's elements in our project.
Right. Gentlemen, do you have any other comments on that, on how you mentioned the Saudi heritage and the regulator and the modern design, and there's a balance there on creating spaces that reflect that rich culture, but also creating spaces that are fit for the future. Does anyone here have any comment on, you did a great job at Oud Square, for example, where you incorporated the future at the time. Does anyone else have any other comment on what your experiences are? Engineer Faisal?
First, good morning to everyone, and it's my pleasure to be honest to be here. Thanks to you, John, and all the organizers. Today it is different, as Engineer Mohammed mentioned. Today is different. If anyone here in Saudi before years, he will look that our homes are the spaces is very big. We speak about thousands of squares, or even if you go to any place, everything is using the spaces was easy. You can do whatever you want. However, now this is not anymore applicable for many reasons, but it's not applicable today. So designed homes has become different. And even the people expectations different. If you saw the new designs anytime, it will not be like the designs that built 20, 30 years before. So utilizing the spaces is important. And as Mr. Engineer Mohammed mentioned, today, utilizing the technology and the new designs, this is very important, where you will utilize many of the technology, either AI or... And the most important, you will see it today, is the people expectation. People expectation today is not like before. Looking, due to the future, I will say how people live now with the traffic, the distance, the others. People looking to have a mixed-use destination where they do a lot of things at the same time. You want your office next to your shopping area or commercial area or food and beverage or whatever. So there is a lot of changes happening, and you should expect it's going to be more and more changes. And this is where I think all of us here looking on how to have the people expectation in the future in our current projects.
Understood. I have a follow-up question for you, but Akram, you wanted
just
to say
want to
something?
comment on Mohammed's perspective on the innovation when it comes to Saudi culture. Oud is a success story, and it created a benchmark that everybody's looking at with a lot of respect. So from a private sector initiative, Oud is benchmarking the quality lifestyle in office, and it's moving into Resi. Oud came up with a number of sub-brands like Oud Reserve, and I don't want to jump into Oud experience, but definitely it's a very interesting story to look at. From a government initiative perspective, there is another example that illustrates innovation in real estate that links with heritage, which is Diriyah Gate. A beautiful experience and adding to the lifestyle, quality lifestyle of the people in the city of Riyadh. And it's just exploring this, we're only scratching the surface of the amenities and the quality that it offers. But that's another benchmark that links between innovation and Saudi culture.
Yes, thank you, please, Mohammed.
I think today people became more aware about the real estate products through the social platforms, through actually exposing to AI and these things. So it's not about actually giving a space to live or to work or to entertain. It's about mixing all these together. And we can see that clearly today, that buyers, but users actually are more aware when it comes to the product of the real estate. So as Engineer Faisal said, mixed use today is a must. It's not about developing a single asset, it's about developing a mixed use asset to attract buyers or users to this space.
So you're saying that the majority of the Saudi population is very young. At least everybody's young compared to me. So I just wanted to say, so you're saying that the Saudi first-time home buyers or people starting on that property ladder, they're insisting on not just a space for their family, but the outside and the community as well, so the integration with the community. That's very interesting. And I think as a separate topic, we can talk about if they're willing to pay service charges and to keep that community up, but that's not today's topic. Akram, I wanted to shift a little bit. And, we've talked about now innovation, and we've talked about how you need to use technology in innovating, and the users today and the buyers today insist on that. So can you give us a little comment on your views on how, we had a pre-discussion on AI and how that technology influences the real kind of hard product of real estate?
Definitely. Thank you, John. As you just mentioned, we had a previous discussion about it. And I'm going to go back to one of your, I want to borrow one of your statements when you mentioned that technology is more of an ocean, but how you harvest or how you get solid delivery, which is how you can either get a single fish or you can really go for big fish. So when it comes to digitalization, it's becoming part of our life, and it is impacting real estate. Real estate cycle, starting from property identification or opportunity identification, running your due diligence, making sure it's a financially viable product, moving into design, delivery, property management, and so on. You will see technology impacting across the full journey. So, and we here in Saudi Arabia are in a very, very dynamic ecosystem, and the government is enhancing the landscape of real estate at large. So if we look from data gathering and accuracy, from transparency point of view, if you look at the current regulation when it comes to WAFI as an off-plan license, that's a digital platform that's impacting real estate. If you look at Ijar platform, that's another digital platform. If you look at moving on from manual title deeds into electronic title deeds, and now it moves on into the new regulation of having the Riga documentation and so on. So digitalization at large is impacting the real estate and the way we operate in the market. Definitely when it comes to time, cost, and quality of products, technology is impacting big time, and there is a huge room for developers to utilize technology when it comes to cost saving, enhancing the building material specification, managing operating cost. So definitely digitalization and technology at large is changing the performance of development.
So you see it more as an enabler.
I see it more into a changing factor that comes across nation level to project level and all the way up to the end user experience at the bottom. Technology is a major disruptor and a major contributor to how the experience looks like.
I see. Akram, I saw you shaking your head. Did you want to do you have a comment on that?
You do.
I'm sure you're agreeing.
Auj's, there is a few months ago, Auj acquired 40% of Oud real estate. So I have to.
You must say yes. You must say yes.
Honestly, it is a great journey together with Auj, even though before the acquisition, Auj, they become now the main shareholder in Oud, which shows this a great collaboration. And this is the first time that we share the stage, so we not just only share the destiny and the future, we are sharing the same values. And I appreciate Architect Akram inputs about Oud and how we see Oud from a shareholder perspective. So and yes, I have to say I agree with him, and at least for the first year.
At least until the shareholder votes, right? And then you can have your discussions. Please, Engineer Faisal.
Yeah, I agree with Akram on his comments. Technology today in our life has changed our life. No one of us will be able to do what we were doing before, from even like the government processes where we went and spending all the day to finish one request or something. Today, people expectations become high. We need to do everything online. We need to do it quick. It should be quick, or they will be. So, real estate is part of our life, and today people expect that level of digitalization happen in our life to be implemented in the real estate. And whomever will not be able to get this, I think they will be out of the markets, because people cannot continue in not utilizing the technology. However, also, the second point, technology will help us more. Yes, real estate started late, but today when we see the PropTech solution, this is very important. So today, the PropTech implemented in the real estate life since the starting the establishment, selecting the location, best use, high best use for this real estate, and best design, utilizing renewable energy, all of the environmental points, and then setting the customer expectation and put it there. So today, PropTech is the future. Utilizing the PropTech in the real estate is important and will differentiate the new projects that's using the technology from the old one who are not using it.
Yes, and sometimes when you have a developing market, such as Saudi Arabia, you have the ability to hopscotch or leapfrog over legacy markets. So if you look at, you mentioned Ijar, and I opened this up to the panel. Sometimes if you go to a legacy market in Western Europe or the US, you don't have such a sophisticated thing as Ijar, or you cannot see your, or even your traffic fines on your phone. And Mohammed, do you want to talk a little bit about how that how that affects your business?
I think they cover most of the part. No,
Sorry, no problem. But I do, Akram, I really appreciate your comment, and it is really a revolutionary idea that we're right in the middle. So the tide is taking us, whether we know it or not. Please.
John, again, building on what Faisal said, innovation has been there in real estate, and it's been a major contributor again to the evolution of how we do things. So if we go back in history, inventing a tie beam one day was a changing factor of how the structural grid would look like. So in today's market, if you go to engineering practice, for example, technology within engineering and avoiding coordination mistakes, like, for example, the BIM system and so on. So that's part of digitalizing the engineering scope. And if you go into a procurement strategy, there are a lot of technology happening within procurement strategy that also helps you in doing certain savings and enhancing performance. The same applies to community management, property management. It's also a digital process now. So if there is a place to be, that's real estate is evolving and growing rapidly, and there is a place that's looking for the future and things that we have not even witnessed. And I believe for the coming 10 days, there's a place globally in the world. It is Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
Today, benchmark what's happening in giga projects, and John, you're an expert in this. If you look at King Salman Park, that's an innovation experience on its own. 13 million square meter in downtown that acts as a city lung. If you look at the Raya Gate, that's another cultural hub. If you look at the new Murabba, it's a new vision of a new downtown in north of Riyadh. And if you come to Jeddah, there is Jeddah downtown. So all over the Saudi cities, the evolution is happening, and we're witnessing a golden era and unlimited opportunity of real estate experience.
It's interesting that you mentioned these big projects, because many cities around the world have evolved organically over time, some hundreds of years. And what is being tried to do in Saudi Arabia is really at warp speed and could not be done without technology. It could not be done. You can't have growth of 100 years without technology. I wanted to thank you, gentlemen. I wanted to pivot a little bit, Mohammed, and now talk about how we pay for all this. When we had our pre-talk, we talked a little bit about policies, partnerships, unlocking financing, and I know you have your views on that and how that affects the future and innovation. If you wanted to address that a little bit, and then I'll open it up for the panel.
Sure. I think over the past 2 years, financing actually is a major issue in the development of real estate. And today, with the new regulations, updated regulations, CMA and other entities, we do have actually a much fragile market. And I believe tools being actually used since 2018, such as REIT, crowdfunding. These tools actually help the real estate market to grow much bigger than expected. We've seen some examples actually on collaborations between fund managers and crowdfunding platform to fund real estate projects. It was very successful. So I think for me, a sustainable development is all about an efficient design and efficient financial structure. So this is what makes sustainable development suite. So financing is a major tool in that.
You don't have to start from the beginning.
Oh, so if no one heard me before,
We heard.
So as I said, finance sustainable development it's all about a well-designed and efficient design integrated with a well-financial structure. This what makes actually sustainable real estate development. So financing is a major tool, and how we can use that today with the new crowdfunding, fund structure, WAFI actually developed a lot of regulations since its beginning in 2000, I think 10 or 12. Today, they are actually more mature. So all these regulations and updates help the real estate market to thrive to the next level.
Understand. Faisal, do you want to have a comment there?
As you know, nothing without money will work. Real estate is originally on the money, and that's the real estate project is costing really a lot. So, and what was happened, the previous expertise that was running the real estate previously 30 years before was people who was having a rich who coming and doing their own, I would say, expertise on those projects without any proper structure. And this was causing a lot of mess on the financial side. The beautiful today that you see that it's become a very, very regulated and structured business today in real estate. I remember the chairman of the CMA was saying that over than 65% from the, or 60% from the companies are submitting a request to join the market are real estate companies. We see how the Ritz today are doing in the main market. We see how the funds did a very, very supportive function to the real estate in the market and structuring the process from A to Z, ensuring there is no gaps and regulating it, compliance and governance it. And the most important also, what you see today, like the supporting WAFI, as you mentioned, Mr. Mohammed, WAFI supported all those developers to ensure that the end user will get the property. So financial it is very important. The good things that today it's very highly regulated by all regulations in Saudi Arabia, and I'm expecting this will continue. We cannot go back from this anymore. And this was a main reason of the development we are reaching it now in Saudi Arabia.
Understood. Thank you. Akram, did you want to say?
I just want to also touch base on what Faisal said when it comes to funding. And despite the level where we are today in terms of regulation and funding and so on, there is more to come. Technology, again, tokenization and blockchains, it's already there and it's at a market level, not within Saudi market, but it's coming up. And once it properly lands on and act as a system, we will notice it opens the way for a new wave of money or new market players at an individual level. It gets to the level to a single digit Saudi Riyal investor to step in and buy a fractional ownership of a property. So also blockchain and tokenization is the game changer, and it's on the way.
Once again, that future innovation defining the market here.
Yes.
If we talk about the future innovation, I wanted to ask a question on the foreign investor journey. And the role of sovereign funds and foreign investors is. Do you all see it, Akram, maybe for you, do you see it shifting now from heavy on internal funding and coming with foreign funding, or how do you see that balance now on private sector, public sector funding for real estate projects?
Well, I had the luxury.
Sorry for the curveball.
No, it's okay. I had the luxury of living that experience 20 years ago, being an external or non-Saudi real estate developer jumping into the Saudi market. And back then, it was a nightmare. I see now a lot of global market players stepping into the Saudi market, and there is much more regulatory leeways and easements for global players to come into Saudi. And as I just said, again, new technology will make it much easier in the coming years.
And you feel that the positive regulation, the guardrails there that are in place in the market, and the transparency that technology provides makes Saudi Arabia a more attractive market than perhaps some other legacy markets?
Yeah, of course. I think today, with the transparency that we have, this will attract FDIs, especially to the Saudi market. With the Al-Borsa Al-Aqariyya, the real estate index, this actually shows the investors and make them actually understand the market in a much better way. Lately, with the announcement of the foreign ownership in Saudi, especially in Mecca and Medina, I believe this will unlock the market in Mecca and Medina. Huge potential there. And I believe that this will change the supply and demand game. So we're not looking into local demand only. Now we're looking to international market. And it's not about selling assets in Mecca and Medina. It's actually about maybe living the Saudi growth vision internationally. So, and as I said before, Ritz was the start. When you have this real estate asset traded in the public market, this shows confidence to the investors. CMA played a major role with the support of Rega and other entities to ensure that we have a well-governed structure. For PAF, I think they play a major role in how to attract the developers, especially the private developers. You know, with giga projects, private developers will always think twice, okay? Because of the size and the infrastructure that need to be invested. And this is a huge risk for private developers, where PAF here can de-risk this, and they act as a master developer. Now we can see that government entities and PAF subsidiaries are working as partners with private developers through JV structure, fund structure. And this was not the case, I would say, a few years ago. The only way that you have to deal with the government entity before is through leasehold structure. No, it's different today. Today we have a JV structure, we have a fund SPV structure, we have even a much updated leasehold structure through longer terms, through investment in kind, through that lease. So yes, I think all these factors played a major role in innovation.
Understand. Engineer Faisal, do you want to have a comment?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Adding to the gentleman here, see, previously real estate returns in Saudi Arabia one of the highest worldwide. So that's why, a lot of the rich people in Saudi came from the real estate. The foreign were not entered for many reasons related to no regulation, no transparency. When Vision 2030 came, it was clear the direction from the government that's minimizing the dependency on the oil and enhancing all other sectors, and one of them is the real estate. Make a clear regulation, transparency across all the segments from A to Z and be an open market. Now there is no things stop the foreign investors from jumping to Saudi Arabia. The return in the real estate in Saudi Arabia, one of the highest worldwide. So excellent return. Regulation become clear, transparent. Everyone can jump and see it. And we as Saudi Arabia within Vision 2030, we become very active. So you see government, civic government, private sector all involved. There is a lot of opening for the country. Like today, you see us in this conference where a lot of people welcome. They are all welcome here joining us in this conference and across many conferences in the Saudi Arabia. So today it's become a market ready for all investment. And everyone who is looking for an excellent return and looking for a place where they will say continuous growth, they are coming here and they are looking to see the opportunities in Saudi Arabia. That's why we are seeing them everywhere. And last week you saw in the FII, and real estate was part of this. And clear what's happened, and that's government is supporting with a company, semi-government company that's under BIF, and others are really involving a lot from the foreign investors.
But without innovation and without technology, none of this could happen. And it could all be a plan, but none of this will actually see the realistic delivery without that innovation and without that vision, as you say. Faisal, did you want to make a comment or?
Overall,
Okay.
Yes. So overall, if you look at the whole world, economic world, the Far East is well developed. Africa is emerging. Europe is getting old, and America is still looking for stuck in the technology, but in terms of development. So the best playground for any investor believe in creating a different technologies, innovation is the GCC overall. It's very obvious happened Dubai and UAE overall. In Saudi Arabia is a place for dreamers. So as a foreign investor, it is the place where that you could create different products and very promising product in terms of technologies, in terms of tourism, in terms of development, and even though manufacturing. So overall, it's the place where that is attracting everyone that's wish to change the way of banking, investment banking, and technology, and so on. So it is the place. Saudi Arabia now, it's the place, and by introducing very smooth processes to attract such an investor, we are witnessing a golden age in Saudi Arabia.
I think we all share your optimism, and I think you hit on the nail on the head then there where you said the smooth processes. And once again, the smooth processes are enabled by the ease of doing. I mean, it's still, every place is still a challenge to do business, but there are technological gateways now in place or in plan to make it an easier place to do business versus other markets, even other GCC markets, to be frank. So we talked a little bit about the beginning, about placemaking. We talked about technology and robots and flying cars. I want to talk about something that's close to your heart, is the Junior Faisal, is the mixed-use projects. And if we boil it down and say, okay, we have a mixed-use project, how are you using innovation and technology to create those communities, as Mohammed said, and really create a unique space for a user and a buyer and an investor?
Apologize, but I will give a point before I answer this question. When we say mixed use, I will give you how's really what direction. And I will be apologize to King Salman Airport Company because I will share some of their plans. The new project for King Salman Airport in Riyadh is going to be a mixed use. So they are going to have a residence, they are going to have a healthcare, they are going to have entertainment, shopping, blah, 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 blah. So it's going to be a city. Not only that, they are opening the airport itself, the airport which we go only when we travel or we are landing to the city. They are opening the airport itself for people to go and entertain and have whatever they want from shopping, food and beverage and entertainment. This is show you how even the airport, which is the dedicated function property, is going to be a mixed use. So this is just an example of where we are going in future. Answering your question, when we have like Al-Andalus area here, where in Jeddah, where we have a full mixed-use destination, where you have a mall, full-fledged mall with entertainment, food and beverage and shopping, next to it a healthcare supplier and a hospitality supplier and entertainment overall. So having this show us really how people are in need and in demand for mixed-use or multi-use destinations. So they will come for a reason and they will enjoy the remaining functionality there. However, the most important that you keep yourself up to their expectation. People's expectation is not easy to be catched, to be honest, and people's expectation become higher quickly. So whatever they get today, they will expect better next. So you need to always keep developing the tenant mix, ensuring the people who's there are really fulfilling their needs. This is very important. And you providing them with all support function to them to reach. You know, the journey, having an excellent journey for customer is important. And the journey starting before he arrive or she arrived to the location. So how is the way taking them there, the parking, the easy of finding parking, how in and out, the overall, what they look and feel of the building and other. So all of this is very important. Technology will help in all of this. First, technology will help in getting the customer feedbacks and analyzing it and ensuring you are ahead of those expectations. And second, technology will help you in implementing those expectations and keeping your property, especially the mixed use, up to the customer expectation and up to be impressed by them.
Understood. So I have two comments or questions there on technology, especially on retail. Obviously, you've all been in real estate for quite a few years, and how you estimate or how you track customer footfall today and customer traffic today in your retail versus a few years ago, how has that changed?
Technology is helping a lot. It's not only that, to be honest.
You don't have somebody there counting?
No, nobody. You will be shocked. It's even telling from the face of the customer if he or she happy or not.
Really?
Yes, this is it's become to a level, the technology. So it's not only counting the bags. So you know how many customer bought from each shop. It's not only taking about their face if they are sad or they are happy. It's doing a lot of information. It's pulling a lot of information where you need to analyze it and get the best. But it's counting the people, counting the time in out, counting as I told you what they are going and what they are buying, and counting if they are happy or not. If they are using phones or not, how many minutes they are using their phones. Really, the level the technology reach, it's too high.
And once again, back to the comment earlier about you have this technology, but you need to harvest it and interpret it
and then
to make that life.
To make this data, utilize that and analyze it. I agree with you.
Yes. Did you want to have a comment?
Just one comment on the technology on retail. The technology today is capable of capturing the emotional face, whether the customer is happy or not. And it also dives deep into the customer behavior. It tracks the shopping cart of an individual in a supermarket, and what type of milk, what type of grocery, what type of merchandise he is buying. And it starts pushing messages towards a specific merchandise at the time of making decisions. So it reaches a point where it really affects customer behavior. to that level, technology is into sales and achieving numbers.
Just as an aside, I wonder if when you judge customer happiness, if you take the nationality of the person into account. And
we decided not to speak about, the house subjects. But we saw really when we have those cameras and having those, that's a lot of wives are happy, a lot of husbands are not.
yes,
So, but this is a good for us. This is a good signal.
exactly.
That means the mall is having a good effort.
You also talked about, in the remaining time we have left, the mixed-use projects. And would you say that the day of the edifice, of the standalone project, the standalone airport, or the standalone building is over, and really to make it financially viable and to make the successful project, you have to have a mix and you have to have a community around? Is that what you're trying to?
I believe to a big level, yes. It's not going to be easy anymore to be a unique destination, a unique standalone destination. I don't think it's going to be easy. Let me be honest. Now, today, we are going to have a lot of property. All the big projects are mixed use. Riyadh, Diriyah, New Murabba, all everything. I told you, even the airport become mixed use. So it's not too easy. If you are getting the choice, or any of the gentlemen or ladies and gentlemen getting the choice to have a residence next to mixed use or residence alone, which one you will select? So I expect it will be very hard for a unique destination, or I would say unique one subject, one standalone destination to continue in the field. I think it will be very hard unless they are doing something very special.
Understood. Thank you very much.
And thanks.
We didn't plan this question. We didn't plan this question ahead of time, so I just wanted to ask in the time we have left, and I'll start with Akram at the end. Is we talked about technology in this session, and only you guys can hear me. That's fine.
You can use that for that.
So we talked about technology as an enabler, and we had this great session, and thank you very much. I'd like just to go around now and ask you, given the subjects of the session, what are you the most optimistic about in the next period, in your next planning horizon, your next time frame? And well, I'll ask the same question of everybody. So, Dr., what are you the most optimistic about now? Sorry for the
in my oh god, it's working.
Do you want it?
On my next development, I'll be much more optimistic about mixed-use development and integrating technology across the cycle, starting from the design stage all the way to exit model at the end. And I believe that's the future of real estate at large. Expect the unexpected. That's exactly the slogan that I would love to keep in my next development. Expect the unexpected.
And continue to be agile.
Yes.
Engineer Faisal?
I think with the sequences, Mohammed. The sequence, I mean... So what was the question? Yeah. I think all the surrounding is give the vibe and a good feeling of a great future, especially here in Saudi Arabia, given the vision 2030 is almost achieve what it's planned for. What I'm optimistic with is the taste of the project is much more improved. Taste is an issue. That's why there is a few designers in the world like Armani and Chanel. So, and it is not just only attached with the fashion; it is attached with the architecture. So, I'm very optimistic with the technology, definitely. But the taste is what's redefined the any renaissance of a country or a nation. So we are witnessing a huge transformation, and capturing this renaissance is like what's happened in Florence, what's happened in Greece or Rome. It is how the human being capture and frame their glory during a certain age. So I'm very optimistic that we are creating a great buildings that will be attached with will become a history in 100 years later. But so I think we are developing a great destinations, a great products, witnessing a huge transformation. We are the luckiest generation ever lived in the world, yet in Saudi Arabia we have the technology, we have a great people, a great leader that's taking us to the future. So we have to be optimistic. We don't have to make it a question. That's how to become an optimistic. This is what's too important. So we are witnessing a great transformation.
I think the technology is all about how to analyze the data and use that in improving and elevating the customer experience or the end users or the buyers. So with all these great projects today in Saudi, the standards are much higher than before. And the expectations from the market, I think with the use of the data and the technology, can be developed in a much better way to attract buyers, end users, customers to a new concept of mixed use. Maybe Engineer Faisal highlighted the new concept of King Salman Airport. So this is actually a unique and innovative project. I think such examples must be actually developed in Saudi to attract the new generation.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry. I agree with the gentleman here, but let me simplify it in 3 points. I think I'm optimistic for seeing 3 clear things, and it's in line with what the gentleman said. First, Saudi citizens and residents are really very high educated, highly demanding, highly expecting things, and hardly working. So this is something will make me optimistic. Second things, we see a country leadership are on top of all the items. Their goals is very high, and they are looking to take this country to a level that's it's in the top, even ahead of everyone else or all the other countries. When you see this, this will make you really optimistic. And the third things, that's with this people and the leadership, you see a plan, which is Vision 2030, that's really clear, and you see this plan is really achieved and in the right direction. Having those 3 things will make you optimistic, always optimistic, while you can see every day ahead better than the day before.
Thank you very much, and I think we're all in concurrence with your optimism, and I want to thank the panelists for their time today and sharing their visions and sharing the thoughts. And I'd like to thank the audience for coming out today, and once again, thank you for the organizers. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.